I'm going to enjoy a cup of tea, David, and I'm going to make a video response to you. You want to know why I responded the way that I did? You want to know why I responded with the insults and not really saying anything, David? Well, the reason, by the way, if you're going to use tea bags, guys, don't squeeze your tea bags. I mean, a little bit, but you don't want to squeeze them because that's how you can get all the bitterness out. Anyway, so why I responded the way that I did, David? Because at some point I've got to realize that talking sense to you, talking facts, doesn't get anywhere with you. But I'm going to give it one last time. And by the way, yes, you were like, oh, well, boys will be boys and girls will be girls. The context of the conversation we were talking about was you confirming your belief that boys, men, are inherently violent more than women. And then when you applied the biblical standard of, well, if you have hatred in your heart, which I agree with, by the way, then that's an act of violence. Okay. But then when I asked you, I said, okay, well then it doesn't matter because women are just as violent. You said, no, men are more violent. And then we got into a discussion, a red herring, a logical fallacy that you like to accuse me of, about what's more violent. But here we're here, David. We'll have the rest of this conversation in public. And our subscribers can keep us honest. And they can keep us talking honestly. And let me ask you this. Why, David, why is it that by biblical standards we're all violent, right? Yet men are still more violent even though women do the same actions. As a matter of fact, if you listen, they speak the same way we do when they get mad a lot of times. So why is it that still men are more guilty even when you put them for equal rules, equal footing, men are worse? What do you think? Unless you want to get into the topic of why men are more aggressive. Being typically we are the providers, the protectors, the ones who get sent out to die while the women stay home and cook. You know them. If you want to get into how historically that's been the case, we can have that conversation, David. Through and through, the men have always been the ones that have been expendable. So we're the fighters, we're the warriors, right? That's why, typically, if you want to talk about it, men are usually more aggressive than women. We were the expendable ones that we got sent out to die. Now we're expendable in a different way. We're a paycheck, we're an alimony payment, we're a child support payment. Again, I ask you the question. And the reason why the gender pay gap came up was because you questioned my stance on women's motives financially. Okay? And I said, well, if the gender pay gap is true, how is it that men spend about $10 billion a year and women spend about 17? It's going to be almost double what men spend, right? But why? How could they afford to do that if the gender pay gap isn't true or is true? There's only two ways. The gender pay gap is not true, or women are spending men's money somehow through alimony payments or through fucking child support or whatever. Those are the only two scenarios where that works, David. And talking sense to you isn't going to help because you're just going to deny it, like usual. You're not an honest person. And I'm responding to you the way that I did in that last video because, look, if you're going to just discard everything I say. Why not have some fun with it? Why not? Okay, you want to discard what I'm saying? Alright, well, I'm going to fuck with you then. Later.